Welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast, coming to you straight from the smallest big town in Texas with your host, mentor, and owner financing master, Mitch, a.k.a. Be the Bank Stephen. The possibilities of life without a J-O-B start here. So grab your pen and paper and listen up. Y'all just might figure out how to fail forward to financial freedom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about livecom.com. That's livecom.com, as in live communications. Now, this is a mass texting platform. It's mass texting done right. It's quick, it's affordable, and it's effective. It hits your customers right between the eyes and for pennies on the dollar. So when you watch the video on the homepage at livecom.com, you're going to learn exactly how I sell 100 houses per year with an average of 9 days on the market. Get that? Only 9 days on the market. I'm selling 100 houses a year. So please check out this incredible tool. It works for almost any business. So go to livecom.com, that's livecom.com, and take advantage of the 30-day free trial offer. That's right, you get 30 days free, you get to check it out, peruse the website, see how it works. Livecom.com, mass texting done right.
Are your payment collections falling further and further behind because you're too nice? Do you dread those collection calls? Is your account analyses being sent out each year? Is record keeping just not your forte? Let MoatNoteServicing.com stand between you and your payers and handle all these issues and more. M-O-A-T, MoatNoteServicing.com, because you should be out making deals.
MoatNoteServicing.com, because you should be out making deals.
This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Gary Boomershine. We met a long time ago at a mastermind, and we became friends. We've kind of remotely kept in contact. This guy is a doer beyond doers. We're going to talk about what's working today. And we were talking, this is the pandemic time and a state of chaos, which every real investor knows. Wealth comes from chaos, and there is plenty of it right now. The question is, where do we morph to find the money, and where do we morph to give a benefit for which we can receive the money? So, you always got to think about the benefits first. And if you can find a way to benefit people, then the money will generally follow. Put a little thought into it. I like to also pay homage to my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. You will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you what they're not telling you. We're going to tell you why they're not telling you. And then you can do with what you want. But if you do not have a self-directed account, IRA, 401k, health account, or educational account in which to grow your finances tax-free or tax-deferred, you are missing a huge tool in your tool belt. So please go see taxfreefuture.com. Check out the 37 little video vignettes there. It's a big eye-opener. I especially like the ones that tell you how to take a little bit of money in your account and make it into a lot of money. That's usually the stumbling block. People saying, I don't have enough money to really do anything with. If you have $10 in there, we can do something. Okay. It's called an option. I'll leave it there. All right. Hey, Gary, how you doing today?
Mitch, it's an absolute pleasure, man. It's been a while since I've been on your show, and I follow you. I've been following you for, a long, long time, and all your great books and stuff. And
hey, we actually went through a little health spurt there. Both of us got in shape and lost some weight and got rid of a couple of vices maybe or whatever. So it's nice to see you, man. You're looking great.
Thank you, my friend. You too. Yeah, I turned 51 and my wife calls it the midlife crisis. And she said, hey, keep it up. I was starting to go and push through I was probably 40 pounds heavier. And finally I'm like, okay, today's the day. And you know what? You actually eat a little bit better. I work out a little bit and I start my mornings. I have this rule that I call 5-10-3, which is I wake up now at 5. I pushed out my day until 10. So that gives me 5 hours of personal time. I'm working on what is my one thing that I'm going to move the marker. It's the Gary Keller model. He's got his book called The One Thing. And so I'll put, what is the one thing I'm going to do today to move the marker in my business? And then the 3 is the 3 hours as a CEO I'm going to spend as a CEO. And it doesn't mean I'm just working 3 hours, but it's the high money making activities. And that's been a life changer for me. I'll tell you, happier team, happier family, happier myself. And that came from a coach, by the way. It came from a guy that has been personally coaching me for years, and which I recommend to everybody.
Say it again. It's 5-10-3. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the rule is my 5-10-3. I used to wake up, I used to go to bed super late, and I would never felt like I could get enough done during the day. So I wake up at 5, I push my business day out. So I'm not booked. I don't do anything until 10 in the morning.
What does that mean? You push your business day out?
Well, I used to, I'd wake up and I'd like throw myself into reviewing emails and social media. And now I don't do anything. I meditate, I read scripture, I journal, I work out, I do some family stuff like making coffee and clean up the kitchen for my wife.
From 5 a.m. to when? I'm writing this down. I'm taking notes.
Yeah, 5 hours. So from 5 in the morning, I wake up to 10. My business day starts where I actually start at 10. And then the 3 is the 3 hours of high octane CEO quality money making activities of how am I going to move the marker in this business? And that's been people ask me all the time, what would you say are some of the keys to success? That's been one. That's been a huge one. And then having coaches in every part of your business, performance, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got my interest right now. And what I like about this show is I do whatever I want. That's what I really like. And what I'm interested in now is at 10 a.m., what do you do and where do you fit the 3 hours in? Does the 3 hours start at 10 a.m.?
It does. Yeah. The 10 in the morning. And I find I am highest performance between 10 in the morning and about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And so that's a point in time where I'm like, how can I do the least amount of work to get the most amount of value? It's usually on leveraging people. It is, it will be pushing out to make sure that I'm making the contacts in my business related to projects and raising money. And it's really,
it's 10 to 1. You're focusing on your high yield activity.
Correct. And then I'm done. Typically, if I do this, I am done around 4 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that is. And as soon as I started doing that, Mitch, the marker and the trajectory line really, I call it jumping the line, right? Of how do you actually jump the line from being a slave in this business, right? Which happens to all of us, to really turning it into being a business owner, investor, CEO. And if you don't change that mentality, right? It's the old insanity of doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It just doesn't work. So I'm pretty vocal. I have a podcast. I share a lot of that stuff. And I know, a lot of the guys in our masterminds, it's those guys that are doing those things, right? And changing the way they operate, changing the way they think actually has really produced the result. And I couldn't have done it myself. This came from a lot of coaching. And I recommend that to everybody. Have a performance coach. If every professional athlete, professional singer that, even in Silicon Valley, all the executives have a professional high performance coach. And that's how we make huge changes in our life. So,
man, that's very good. So we were going to talk about what's working today. And we're talking to real estate investors, how they're basically finding properties, I guess, is where everything starts. So I'm assuming we're going to have to start there at finding motivated sellers and then converting them. So what's working today? And just to preface, we're well into the pandemic, 2020. It's September, about September the 2nd. So that's where we are. What's working today, Gary?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And what I am seeing right now, this is not a time to pause. We're seeing a lot of people that have sort of especially the novices, have gone into, pure fear and watching what I call fear porn on TV, right? You can't turn the TV on without wanting to go throw yourself off of a cliff. This is a time what I call the 3 Ps. So it's to protect what you got, it's to pivot your model, and then profit. And we're going into what I would consider one of the best opportunities in real estate. Us long-termers, I've been doing it. I know you've been doing it forever. I've been full-time since 2004. I've seen multiple market swings. And this market is where we're going to see huge opportunities. What I'm seeing right now, Mitch, is we have not seen the effects of this COVID thing. I think we're going to see a massive number of properties and distressed owners that are going to be going into foreclosure. I think there's going to be incredible buying opportunities. Right now, a lot of the big players are still doing what I would consider virtual wholesaling and then cherry picking the fine deals. I call it, keep the best, sell the rest model. So there are still incredible buys. What I'm seeing because of COVID, I'm seeing the inherited properties, the people that have inherited properties that are not living in them. So a key, it's historically, a lot of us have been marketing to absentee owners, but that is a huge market right now. There are a lot of burned out landlords. You look at I'll give you an example, Hawaii. I own a property in Hawaii. We actually have it for selling it. Hawaii is locked down. So all of the properties over there that were rentals, those sellers they can't rent them. So huge opportunity for a lot of these. What I'm finding, kind of the best model is still off market, which means we go direct to the seller. What I'm seeing right now is the direct mail done right. High performance direct mail is still crushing it. I'll talk about the elements of success, of the difference between success and failure off of direct mail. I am seeing text blasting of sending out, skip tracing is huge, where you're able to skip trace, right? That's very easy to do. It's typically the same mailing list, now skip traced, and then being able to text broadcast it properly. You got to follow the laws. There's some key elements of that working very well. And then cold calling is still working well. If it's the right list and it's skip traced and you've got the right people that are actually doing that work. And I can share some metrics and numbers around that. I still love direct mail. We have a lot of clients using RealEstateInvestor.com. That's my company. And they'll use our team to do a lot of the direct mail and our follow-up system to do all the electronic automated follow-up. And then we have a built-in phone team. So that's been working.
I want to delve into that. Like, exactly what is this offer? Because, you get a lot of people who want to start this business. Two things, and I'm not sure that one's a plus. Well, it's not a plus, but that it's overcomable. But one, they're on a shoestring budget. Two, they don't have time because they have their real job that's holding everything together, and they're trying to get free in their spare hours, which means they need a team or a system to really make some headway. Because trying to wear all the hats to go out there in your spare time after a 40-hour-a-week job, if it's only 40 hours, it might be more. There's not a lot of you left over, and your expertise is not real high in certain areas. So you can sub this out. Let's talk about how that might work how does your system work for that guy?
Yeah. Well, let me start with, there is a massive amount of work in order to do direct mail right and to actually schedule, sift and sort through the leads. Because at the end of the day, here's the number. You're going to have to generate an average of 45 leads, which is a seller that basically responds to whatever the marketing. 45 leads typically will produce one deal. That's the average. We've done over 60 million pieces of direct mail. I have every response rate. I've probably mailed almost every postcard and handwritten looking letter known to mankind. People come to us as the inventor of that stuff. But on average, it's 45 leads. Okay.
It used to be like 20 or 22 or 23, but it's gotten really competitive out there, hasn't it?
It's gotten a lot more competitive. Now, you might have a particular list. It might be a smaller list and it will average 1 in 20. But if you're building a real business, it is about 45 leads. And by the way, it's the same on text messaging, actually even higher responses. But cold calling, same type of thing on cold calling. You're going to get about an average of 45 good qualified leads, right, that are going to convert into a deal. Why does that work? About 45, about 1/3. So about 15 of the 45 are going to actually be sellers that raise their hand saying, yes, I may be interested in selling. The other huge amount, right, the 2/3, The other 30 are typically people that say, take me off the list. I'm not interested. You're going to get people that scream and yell and give you hate messages because they're unhappy of whatever, right?
Okay, so that brings me more back in line with what I was saying. You're talking about any response, the FU response, or take me off this list, or or calling you.
That's right.
How'd you get my information? And
that's right. So 45. What's 45
people
leads
that raise their hand and say, I want to talk.
That's right. About half of those are going to be worthy of receiving an offer. The other ones are not ready yet. And so that's a real key thing, because a lot of people out there are just going out and trying to make offers to everybody. And what I'm finding is you slow it down a little bit. Some sellers are not ready yet. So about half of those net leads we're finding get an offer. The other ones may take a few weeks or a little, I like doing a range of making an offer, right? Instead of going in with a low ball cash offer, right, to an unready, unmotivated seller, you could actually blow up the deal. You could be really close, but the seller's not ready yet. So those are what we call, I think the industry term is either viable or net leads. These are sellers that say, yes, I might be interested in an offer. So of the 7, those are the ones that are turning into about one deal. All right. Now, if you're really good at selling, you might be able to get that down to 1 in 4. And I think there's a huge opportunity, what I'm seeing, for people who actually are working those leads to convert. Now, I know that goes into a lot of detail, but the end result is you got to generate a lot of leads to end up closing a deal. And that's where you need a system to do the automated follow-up. And you need a phone person, a low-cost phone person that's dialing for dollars, asking the right questions, and then scheduling an appointment. So if you're an investor and you're busy, you want somebody else to do the $2 to $4 to $5, $10 an hour work to generate the output, so you can actually spend your time doing the $1,000 an hour work, which is working and getting in front of those ready sellers and making offers to them, finding a solution and buying property. And so that's the key. And a lot of people that are brand new, they don't realize they'll try to do everything themselves and then they'll give up. And I call it 3 feet from gold. A follow-up system is cheap. It's like $100 to $200 a month to automate all the follow-up, meaning the leads come in, they automatically get all followed up and processed, and then you have somebody that's actually doing the phone work for you. I call that relentless phone follow-up and appointment setting, right? Getting on the phone, talking to the seller, asking them the questions, checking motivation, and turning it. We do that, by the way.
How much will that person run a month?
That's, you could have all of this done, all said and done, for hiring about the equivalent of a $10 person. So for, $1,500 a month, right? $1,500 a month, you can have somebody managing your direct mail and doing all the phone work and doing all the follow-up. And this is where people, you have to invest in marketing to make money in this business. Marketing is a return on investment. So it's a cost per deal. It's just every business, right? We can make money with no money, but you have to invest in marketing. And that's what's not really taught. I know you talk about that, but let's say you're going to make a $20,000 wholesale profit or $15,000. If you spend $2,000 or $3,000 to get that deal, and you can spend $3,000 and make $15,000, that's a 500% return on investment of your marketing spend. That's how businesses work. So you got to invest some money, cost per deal, right? That's the direct mail. That's the people doing the work to produce the result. And then you scale it up from there. And I see people that try to do it themselves. They are not experts. They'll send out some postcards. They won't even talk to the seller and say, oh, these leads suck. This seller is not motivated. My market's unique. And that's all nonsense. This
doesn't work.
Yeah. So what do you find a list. The typical list right now is inherited properties that are absentee owned, that have equity. There are some other lists. You find that list. You give it to somebody else to do the marketing with good copy. You get the leads into a system, let the system automate and follow up. Get those good ones to somebody that's actually scripted that can call those people. And then you go out on the appointments and close the deals. Right?
See, this is invaluable too, because if you're just starting out, like, what do you say? What is a script? You already know what works. I mean, you have You have all these things tested and tried all the time. You know what the opening sentences will most likely keep people from hanging up. You know what that is. So
I do. And not only that, Mitch, I want to share, I will give out you asked me about some bonuses. I have that script. I will give everybody following Mitch and listening to the show, we'll put it in the show notes, but I will give you the exact script that we use. It's a time test. In fact, there was a bunch of guys in our mastermind that came together and said, what are the right words at the right time to say to a seller to find test motivation, build some trust, get the right answers, and schedule an appointment. And I want to give another little tip. A lot of people ask about using a phone person in the Philippines, okay, or Nicaragua or wherever. And I want to give you. I never thought I could do this. I have 50 people full time doing phone work for us in the Philippines right now. And I never thought I could do it. And what I'm going to tell you is, here are the perfect words. This is the most magic thing that has been a converter. The seller many times they'll ask the question on the phone, where are you calling from? Right? As a negative. And our phone team, we call them sales ninjas. They are scripted, super friendly. And they'll say, I'm actually calling from the Philippines. Mitch hired me, or Gary Boomershine hired me, or your name hired me so he could pay higher prices for houses. How am I doing? Is there any feedback that I could give to Mitch? Or insert your name. We have 100% stick rate with those sellers. They love the answer. That's called objection and objection handler. So we've taken a potential negative and turned it into a massive positive. And so when the sellers ask that's the best question that we want, because the seller will continue the conversation. And you can hire somebody in the Philippines scripted, right, with the right words. That's pretty inexpensive. I mean, we hire them for $5 or $6 an hour, and we have a whole group of them. They're performance managed. I've got a management team that's actually, every time that there's a new objection from a seller, we're working on the right words, right, the right comeback to forward the sale. And that's something that most people, they don't even do. They don't even know that they need a phone person. They just think that leads are going to come in and they're going to go make money in their underwear and they're going to be rich in real estate. It's like, no, you have to do some basic stuff in this business, and very few people teach it.
Just so people know, I mean, I have 6 Filipino VAs that I've been with for a long time. Very loyal, very dedicated. They show up. Every now and then there's a rainstorm or a hurricane or something that knocks them offline for a little bit. But, and their exchange rate from US dollars to the peso, right? Is in our favor. And so, if we pay $10 an hour in the United States, we get crap as a worker. You pay $6 there, it's kind of the equivalent of a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 job over there. I'm not exactly sure right now today, but I was guessing it was around $50,000 to $60,000. These people are managing restaurants or hospital floors. I mean, you're getting a high caliber person at a below market price because of the exchange rate, and it's really phenomenal. Sometimes we got to pay a little bit more, $6, $7, if you want really, really, really fluent English. But maybe Gary can enlighten me that I don't have to pay that much. But I'm willing to pay that much for the right guy. You pick $2 an hour. Shouldn't matter if you got the right guy. It does not matter, because they're either making deals or they're not. And if they're making deals, $2 an hour, it's not even on the radar. So,
here's what we did. We actually, a lot of people would have to go hire a phone person, right? And by the way, you can hire somebody that's a phone person, but they're not an expert at direct mail. So if you want somebody to do direct mail, you usually have to have one skill set. And then if you want a phone person, it's another skill set, right? That's a big mistake. So here's what we've done. We have dedicated teams, all right? And so if somebody's signing up with RealEstateInvestor.com, they may generate 100 leads a month. Right? They don't need a full-time person. So those leads go in, and like, for instance, somebody that's working your leads Monday through Saturday, all time zones, dedicated, relentlessly, over and over again, calling the seller. They don't answer. They call the next day. They'll do that for a year. That service is $500 a month. So somebody can add for $500 a month somebody that's doing it, because I can take one person and they can work 3 or 4 people, right? I can have 3 or 4 of our members and it's a shared service. It's the leverage model. So the leads come in and I can actually goes into an auto dialer, right? And our team is getting those kind of a first in, first out. So, and we're on it. I've got 50 people, right, that I can cover, hundreds and hundreds of members. And then if somebody goes up in volume, I've got somebody that's doing $50,000 a month in direct mail. Now I'm going to put more resources helping them. Does that make sense? And that's all managed by us, where a lot of people realize, oh, I can just hire a fairy dust unicorn VA and they're going to solve world hunger. It's like, no, you got to manage them. You got to train them. You got to keep them motivated and busy. And so just because you have a VA, somebody still has to train them and manage them and keep them busy. And that's where, as a real estate investor, we want to be focused, raising money, closing deals, not necessarily just managing people overseas. And that's why I built RealEstateInvestor.com, which is, hey, at the end of the day, don't you just want to be in front of sellers and have an expert do the work?
Yeah. So, you guys, if you want to learn more about this, and I strongly suggest that you take a look at it, go over to 1000houses.com /Gary B, as in Boomershine. 1000houses.com /Gary B. And so to give away for them to receive that scripts, do we give them that text Mitch too? Is that the number we give them?
Yeah, and why don't I do this? I'm gonna put it. Actually, you.
I've got it right here. It's
okay.
Text Mitch to 925-320-0575. Do you have something you can throw on the screen?
I do. If you want, it says share screen, host disabled. So
yeah, if I get into this, I might lose you forever. So.
Yeah, I'll repeat it. So yeah, just take your phone out, send a text message to this number. And put Mitch in there because it's specific bonuses just for this group, and text message the number 925. So dial 925-320-0575. Yeah. And you'll get a text message within a couple of minutes, and it'll give you a whole bunch of bonuses, including the script for talking to sellers.
Good. And just for you listeners out there, Gary's always been very gracious. He gives away a lot of very valuable information. And so when he tells you he's got some bonuses for you, please don't underestimate. This guy is very gracious. He has the mentality that the more you give, the more you get. Comes out of a book that was written about 2,000 years ago called the Bible, I think. And,
Amen. Amen, brother.
Amen. Yeah. And, so he's going to share. And for those of y'all who decide that you need a mentor or you need some help in this department, then there's plenty of more information and how to get to them. I'm sure in the information they're going to receive, you'll be able to figure out how to get back to Gary and his group. But you can also go to 1000houses.com /Gary B, as in boy, and check it out. This is a perfect solution for people who have full-time jobs, and probably for guys with big-time jobs that it's not easy to walk away from. They don't have a lot of time left. Usually big-time jobs require big-time hours, which means there's even less time to get free from the ball and chain boss or walk away from that job because there's so many benefits and you're making so much money. Sometimes, my favorite students hardly making anything. For once in their life, making nothing is about to work in your favor because you just need a few successes in this business and you can put a whole year's worth of money in the bank. And now you can give yourself 2,600 hours a year that you were giving your boss to, this next 12 months to go outrun your deficits, go improve, figure out more about what you're doing. So I really like it when people come to me who are hardly making anything. It's like I can tell them, for once in your life, not making a lot of money might be working in your favor right here. For those of y'all making a lot of money, congratulations, and it's a great deal, but it can also be a trap too. Yeah, sure, you make $200,000 a year, but they tell you when to get up, they tell you when to go to sleep, they tell you what you're going to wear, they tell you how long you can go on vacation, they tell you, if you can go to your kid's soccer game or your basketball game or when, and at some point in time, some of y'all are going to get pissed off. That's what happened to me. I got pissed. I was like, you know what? I've had enough. And that's the other thing we're all looking for as mentors and coaches. We like to see those people that I've had enough meter is pegged way over in the red. Like I'm not going to do this the rest of my life. Something's got to happen. And really what has to happen is you have to decide that you don't want to do it anymore. And then you got to get a plan on how you're not going to do it, how you're going to change it. It won't change overnight. You can't just snap your finger, but you can start taking whatever time you have and start making a plan. Maybe real estate's for you, maybe it's not. The sooner we figure out if it is or it isn't, the sooner you can move on to whatever it is that's going to get you there. I'm a firm believer on my podcast, and I know Gary's the same way. We really don't care when you listen to our podcast what it is what you need to do to get financially free so that you can become the person that you were meant to be. We don't care what it is. We have things that we offer ourselves, but if that's not it, then we just want to help you find whatever it is, because what we get turned on about is getting people free so that they can be who they are and not have to be someone else 8, 9, and 10 hours a day, making someone else a profit and helping someone else's life run in such a fashion that they can be who they want to be. But we're tied down, so that's right? It's all about helping people get where they're going.
It is. It's like probably what fires me up more than any. And, there's so many of us have become slaves to the job, right? And it's a mindset of the indoctrination, our schools from the time that we were born of like becoming an employee for somebody else, right? A cog in the wheel. I think it's the mindset change of jumping the line. I will say a couple things. It is about commitment. So are you committed to making a change? That is probably number one. You've got to be committed. There's a lot of people that are on the fence and they're always searching. The second thing is education without implementation is just expensive entertainment. So a lot of people become lifetime students of real estate and they never do anything. All you have to do is take that education and take action. It's the implementation. And for most people, it's their very first deal. You get that first deal and you realize, oh my gosh, I can do this. And every one of us did that. I quit my job May 17th of 2004. My wife and I both in California with a big mortgage. I had a 2-month-old baby. And it was the commitment that I said, I don't have an option of going back. And so I found a couple deals and I closed my first one. It was actually 5 hours. I drove 5 hours to go find that first deal. And it was $181,000 of profit. And if I didn't do that first deal, I would have been toast, right? So it's commitment. It is, follow the best practices. King Solomon of the Bible said there's nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new in real estate. It has all been invented. So don't try to go reinvent the wheel. Find what works. Go find the people like Mitch that have already cracked the code. Do what they do, and then you can make it better. But it's like the bowling alley with the bumpers. So what a coach does for you, or following somebody like Mitch, it's like bumpers. You don't want to throw the bowling ball and have a chance of going into the gutter, right? You want the chance of going and hitting and having, a single, a double, or a home run. This business is absolutely fantastic. And we're heading into one of the best markets of any of our lifetimes. There are going to be opportunities. All of us, within a couple of years, you're going to be wanting to have physical assets that are called real estate, because there's going to be a separation between the middle class is going away. So are we going to be the people that actually have the lifestyle change and the financial freedom or not? And this is the time to do it.
You got to lay the groundwork and you got to get ready. So when I have some students come in and like I said, I just want to find where you fit. If someone else is a better coach for you in your market at a strategy that I know works better over there, I'll tell you. I don't want to be on your team trying to get you to do something that's not going to work. I don't want to try to make a donkey into a racehorse if it's not you. I mean, before I ever take my students on the high levels, we do a great interview. I need to feel like I can help. If I don't think I'm going to be on a winning team, let's just put it this way. I'm not playing for the Cleveland Browns. And if I think, that's where we're headed, then I'll tell you, I don't think I'm for you. I don't think the market's right. I don't think you're ready. I'll tell you plain. I don't mean it as an insult. I'm actually trying to do you a favor. Why? And then I will give suggestions. Like, why don't you bump down to here, and why don't you do some wholesale deals and just get on the weekly call, which isn't nearly as much, and prove this business is for you. But at this level, this is too much money for me to ask from you to try to figure out if the business is even for you yet. Why don't we do something that's a little more logical, and will certainly keep your spouse a little less stressed out. Let's, instead of doing 25,000, let's do 3,500, and let the business earn the 25,000. And then if you still want to go, you can do it. But let's figure out if this business is for you first. And I think that's what separates Gary and I from a lot of people is I'm not in it for the money as much as I'm in it for the win. I want to be on a winning team. I want to win a championship ring. I don't want to just play basketball for the paycheck. I want to win a championship, so I'm only going to take people I think I can help. And then that's just better. Have you, Gary, have you ever tried to put a round peg in a square hole and think, I'm never doing this again? It's just too much stress.
I can't. I absolutely, just to add to it, there was a book, gal that works for me. She's actually in Texas as well. She's worked with me. She was a real estate investor. She gave me a book called Halftime, and it's how to go from success to significance. And I think for a lot of us in real estate, like yourself, like mine, is, you see a lot of people that fail for the wrong reasons. And, once you actually achieve success, there's some part of us that want to give back and to be able to allow people not to make the same mistakes we have. And that's the importance of a coach. It's like going swimming and not knowing how to swim. Would you really jump in a pool in the deep end without somebody that's there that is kind of coaching you how to swim, right? A coach is somebody that knows you better than you know yourself, that can actually help you and guide you. And there's a lot of false doors in this business, right? Imagine 8 doors in front of you. 6 of them are booby traps that could be life destroyers, right? Going down the wrong path of what doesn't work in this market. So of the 8, you got 6 that are bad and 2 that are absolutely life changers. A coach can help you say, don't go to these 6 doors, go to the 2. These are the money makers, right?
These are the most likely. The problem, everyone says it's all about making mistakes, but mistakes take energy and time. And some of us, we all have different amounts of endurance for that kind of thing. And then our spouses maybe have even less endurance for that kind of thing. So we can't, in a perfect world, we could just fail as often as we want to, and then we can finally figure out what works. But some people never make it through that gauntlet because it takes a lot of energy when you fail. You got to restart over. You got to fix this again. And failures don't help this at all. And the other thing is just having the confidence of being able to call up someone and say, look, it's my first deal. I'm nervous. And you go through the numbers with them one more time and go, it doesn't get any better than this, brother. Pull the trigger. And so they finally get the confidence you can go 100%. It's very hard to navigate through life when you're not really sure of what you're doing. And when you get in those places, call someone who's done it before and get them to get a second set of eyes on it and go, am I looking at this right? And when they say, yeah, then you can proceed. My coach used to say, if you're going to bust the play, bust it going 110%. Just full out. Don't, because nothing looks worse than a busted play when you're just stuttering and walking or holding your hands up like, what do I do? That's stupid. So get after it. Man, Gary, I want to thank you for taking this time. The conversation went a little different than I was planning, but again, to get that free scripts, text Mitch to 925-320-0575. Again, text Mitch, M-I-T-C-H, to 925 to the phone number 925-320-0575. Also, if you don't have time to write that down or anything, just remember Gary B. 1000houses.com/Gary B as in boy, or Boomershine as the case may be. And everything will be over there. Don't be surprised if you talk to me one day as a student and I say, okay, you've got a budget. You're one of those successful guys. We're going to put some people in place. One is we're going to start your mailing right over here, and you get that set up with them. And then you're going to get something over here, and you're going to get that set up over there. And let me coach you how to work these pieces put together. That's, I don't invent everything myself either, and I don't expect anyone to be able to do everything. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. How can I keep you from getting overwhelmed is really the big thing. Has a little bit to do with the budget sometimes, but All right, you guys, I'd like to thank you for stopping by to get you some Gary Boomershine. Gary, thanks a lot for being. You're always a pleasure. You're an inspiration. And don't hang up after this. I want to talk to you. You brought up even some interesting points for me I want to talk about. So,
yeah, awesome. I really appreciate it. Everything that you've done for our industry, Mitch. I look forward to us getting together, hopefully in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
In a couple months.
I would like to. All right. We're out of here, you guys. Be sure to check out our sponsor, livecom.com. No, I'm sorry. Today's sponsor was taxfreefuture.com. I messed up. Taxfreefuture.com. Check it out. Watch the little 37 video vignettes and learn how you can grow money tax deferred or tax free, and how you can take a little bit of money and make it into a lot of money. There's a lot of great strategies out there. Those are my favorite strategies. Most people think, what can I do with a little bit of money? There's, at 10 or 12% or even 20% a year, it's not ever going to get anywhere. It's not enough money. There's other strategies, and you need to take a look at them. All right, we're out of here, guys. Bye now.
You've been listening to the Owner Financing Master, Mitch Be the Bank Stephen, on the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Let us now blatantly, and without apology, bribe you towards financial freedom by offering you a whole bunch of free stuff. Go to RealEstateInvestor.com and get you some. And you all come back now, you hear?